to our channel, The Spiritual Humanist. I'm Nishant Tenchin, and today we are gonna talk on a very important topic of secularism. Is secularism a boon or a bane? Is secularism really necessary, or does it have some deeper agenda within it? So, in nations like India, take for example, you would see that India is divided into three groups. One group which is anti-secularism, one group which supports secularism, and the other group, like always, which has no idea of whom to support and whom to not. Now, you would see that why are people against secularism? Like it's an integral part of the Indian Constitution. Then why are people against it? Let's understand it. So, in this video, we are gonna discuss that. So, if you go by secularism's Oxford Dictionary's definition, then it is like the belief that religion must not indulge or influence government matters. Well, so far so good. But in Wikipedia, it also states that secularism, among the things that secularism connotes, atheism is also. Secularism also connotes atheism. So this point has to be noted. Now coming to who invented secularism. Secularism, the term was invented by George Holyoake in 1851. He states that it's invented so that religion can be separated from social and government matters, but it is not that they will criticize or demean religion. Religion has its own place and government has its own place. So this was the initial idea behind secularism, but slowly and steadily it started getting distorted. So if you see, why was secularism implemented in India? India is a country with people from diverse religious identities. Now, some would say that secularism is just for minority appeasement, religious minorities appeasement. It is not like that. Everyone is a minority. In common sense, everyone is a minority. Like there would be religious minority, there would be regional minority, there would be minority on the basis of language, and there would be minority on various other bases. So India is a place of various minorities, and everyone is a minority in India. Even what we call today the majority in India, the Hinduism, if you would say, which constitutes almost 80% of India's total population, even in it there are many people from different schools of thoughts like Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, and so on. So amongst them also there are various divisions, minorities, etc., etc. So in order to avoid conflict between them, the government adopted the policy of secularism, so that people learn to tolerate. People learn to have religious tolerance. The concept of religious tolerance was also brought into force. Now, when we say religious tolerance, I would say it's not right. It's not proper. Why I'm saying this? That just you think, what do you tolerate? You tolerate things which you don't like. You will tolerate a mosquito. You have to tolerate an insect. You have to tolerate foolish people on social media, on in your daily life. All of them you have to tolerate. You all always tolerate things which you don't like. But is this the way in the matters of religion and spirituality? You must not tolerate. You must learn to accept it. You must learn acceptance. You must learn universal acceptance. That's what spirituality teaches. And by imposing religious tolerance, we are asking people to tolerate others, to just tolerate. Then that mentality comes that I'm tolerating him just because I have to tolerate him. I have no other option. I made a separate video on it. Do check it out. So the central idea which I want to convey here is don't opt for religious tolerance, opt for religious acceptance, religious harmony. And which philosophy promotes religious harmony, I will explain in the end of the video. Now in India also there is a kind of a certain section of Hindus, they say that secularism is being applied only for the minorities and not in the terms of Hindus, not in the terms of the majority. They are saying that in the name of secularism various facilities are being provided only to the minorities and not to the majority, or what they say a so-called majority. So this is also a matter of concern. I'm just stating their grievances. This concept only of secularism is morally colorless, not because the intention from which the term was invented was right. But now where are we heading towards? Now, in the name of secularism, many liberals are standing up against religion, against culture, against spirituality, and are condemning it just in the name of secularism. We are secular, and so the study of these so and so books must not be there. Like for example, I would say the Muslims. Muslim kids have basic knowledge of Islam by going to madrasas, and the Christians, they also, when they go to convent schools, they also have the basic knowledge of their religion in religious morals. However, what about the Hindus? How many Hindus have basic knowledge of their culture, of their religion? Very few percent, not even 10%. Fewer than 10% people have the proper knowledge of their religion, what their religion is, what their culture is, what Sanatan Dharma is. So this is also a serious matter of concern. I will make a separate video on it in the coming days. Now you would say that secularism is good for a country like India, where people from so many different religious states, different philosophies they live. So it's good for India. I would say to you, my friend, secularism doesn't promote spirituality. Secularism promotes atheism. Now you would say, what? How can secularism promote atheism? Let me say to you, one of the major philosophers of secularism, Karl Olson, in his book Key Concept of Religious Studies, from the page 224 to 227, he clearly states that the main objective, the primary objectives of secularism is to remove religion and God from the society. What you will say now? Karl Olson only said this in his book. So this is the hidden agenda of secularism. I'm not saying in which George Holloway had invented that term. Not in that terms I'm saying, but how it is becoming now. India's backbone is spirituality, and in the name of secularism, we are cutting it. We are teaching us children to get away from it and discard it by saying superstitious beliefs and all. Now, I would say to you, like Swami Vivekananda says, that every nation has its backbone. Some has its backbone in politics, some has its backbone in arts, and various other things. Similarly, India has its backbone in spirituality. And in the name of secularism, today our so-called liberals are distancing us from it. So it's like cutting that branch of the tree on which we are only sitting. This is also a serious matter of concern. So I would urge my viewers to look into it. Also, I am not saying that to impose a particular religious text in school syllabus. I am just saying that just include good points from all the religious scriptures into the school syllabus. Why I am saying this? Because in previous times, in the ancient medieval ages, secular studies were just a part of this of the system, of the education system, of the Gurukul system back then. Secular studies were just a part. Like religious studies were also a part, spiritual studies were also a part. So like that, secular studies were also part. But now what we have done, we have made secular studies the major and only part, and have totally discarded religious and spiritual studies. So this is also a matter of concern. We are distancing ourselves from our own culture, and we will end up destroying, annihilating completely our own culture, our own tradition. And why I'm saying to include this in the school syllabus? Good points from every religion, and also to teach so that students from early age will learn that we all are one. We all are not different. We all are, though by different ways, approaching the same God, approaching the same divine. This realization will dawn upon the students. And so, instead of making comparative religion a topic of a subject of study in degree college, why not make it a subject, part of the school syllabus from the beginning itself? So that it will get etched in the mind of students and they will grow up into better human beings. Now, what is the alternative for secularism? If not secularism, what is the alternative? I would say Omnism is the alternative. It's time that a country like India or all the other major countries of the world adopt Omnism, Omnist philosophy. Why I'm saying Omnism? I've made a separate video on Omnism. You may check it out. So, Omnism is a philosophy which says that we all are one. We all, though by different ways, are approaching the same divine. Please understand this, take this into your mind. That we all are not different. Don't learn to tolerate. Omnism doesn't teach you religious tolerance. Secularism teaches you religious tolerance, to tolerate others. Omnism teaches you to accept others, to have religious harmony, to have religious acceptance. Now it's on you to decide whether you want to tolerate other people or you want to accept them as your own. To share this video to as many people as you can, so that Omnism prevails, and people will also know, if not at the government level, at least Omnism can be followed at the personal level, at the individual level. So this is my request to you. Please do share this video, and if you like this video, please like it, give it an official like, and also subscribe to our channel. Please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell icon. It motivates us to bring more such videos into you. this video script also has been written by self-written. You can check out a page on Instagram. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Quora, Facebook, Twitter, and a blogging page. All the links are in description. Don't forget to check them out. So stay safe, stay happy. Thanks for watching. Jai Hind.